Hi everyone, this is Lorraine from Under One Umbrella Designs. Today we're going to be working on a Christmas in July Christmas ornament. I'm beginning with a little bit of prep on this. It's a shiny surface, so I want to give it some tooth for my products to adhere to. So I just slightly buffed it up with a sanding pad. I believe it's a 220 sanding pad. Now I'm applying my first coat of primer. And this primer is by DIY. It's called Salvation Solutions. This provides a great foundation and adhesion for the next layers of your project. Here I'm just taking my heat gun and quickly going over it to dry the first layer up and then applying my next. So now I've got the Fusion casement in white. It's a white, it's a nice layer for underneath decoupage when you want your decoupage to really pop. A white base is the best to use. So I'm just giving this, I think, one coat I do. With the primer underneath, it really saves on your paint. So I'm going to be moving on to the decoupage paper. I picked this decoupage paper. I've had it in my stash for quite a while. I think it's from AB Studios. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. If you can, I'll link it in the description. So I'm just going to be fitting the decoupage on. I'll be doing some relief cuts. That just makes the decoupage fit better on a rounded surface. Still fitting it on here. Removing all the bulk just makes your decoupage paper lay flat and smooth. There we are. This is the relief cuts that I do. Try to stay away from the main picture and just do it on the negative spaces. And before I put the decoupage paper on, I'll wet it. Now I'm using the Fusion decoupage gel. It's a really thick gel. It's really nice. There I am, wetting the paper. What the wetting does is it stretches, kind of stretches out the fibers of the paper so it doesn't buckle, or when you put the wet product underneath of it and then a dry piece of paper, it'll buckle. This just allows it give and it'll form onto your project a little bit better. I lift the flaps, sorry I'm out of frame here. I lift the flaps up and just kind of work around, smoothing it down. Don't rub too hard. You don't want to rub the picture and tear the fibers of the, because they're a little bit weak when it's wet. So just smoothly rubbing it down. It looks like I'm rubbing hard, but I'm not. I'm barely gliding my finger over the decoupage paper. And then once I get it all fitted down and as many wrinkles out, I will do a top coat. Oh, there I just slightly tore the paper, which makes it actually a better look. It doesn't have such straight cut. It's more of a blended look. There I go. I put my top decoupage layer on, nice and smooth, even coat. Now I'm moving into the molds. This mold is by IOD. It's called Oak Leaves and Acorns, I believe. I like to use cornstarch in the mold, and if you use clay, it's really good release. The clay doesn't stick into your mold. So I take a piece of clay, roll it in my hands, kind of warm it up, and then push it into the mold. These molds are really nice. They have it's called a micro rim around the edge, and it helps you remove the bulk of the clay, and I just smooth it in. And I'm just using a little piece of the whole mold here. I'm not molding the whole mold, I'm just using parts of it. And then I stretch it out or flex it to loosen it up and roll it over and pull out your casting. To apply the casting to the ornament, I'm going to be using wood glue. Here I'm just kind of fitting it on, seeing where it's going to go. When you put your wood glue on, you want to make sure that the wood glue goes right to the edge, so it helps adhere the clay to your ornament. You want it all to be stuck down. Sorry again, I'm out of frame. So I continue just to gently press down the mold onto your project. Cleaning up all the rough edges, and I'm going on to the second piece. Again, moving your glue all to the outside, to the edges, so they don't curl up. They'll just stay formed onto your project. Again, just gently pressing down, forming it to the Christmas ornament with just light pressure. Don't want to press out the image or the detail of the mold. You kind of have to work it for a little bit. The clay just kind of wants to peel up from the ornament. I just hold it down and gently work. Eventually it holds on. Now I'm filling in that space at the bottom of the ornament. The casting didn't quite go all the way around, so I'm just taking a piece of the mold and putting it onto the project. If you can hear some meowing and squawking in the back, it's my cat. There's a bug on the window and she's meowing at it or spitting at it. So here I've got some molds off Amazon. They're actually fondant molds, but they're really cute and they're really cost effective too. And forming a little bow to put on my ornament just for more decoration. They're a little bit more delicate than the IOD castings. They're a little bit more substantial, so you have to be really careful with these ones. Again, putting the glue right all over the edges, right to the edges. I have to put the topper on because I think my bow goes up onto that piece. And I should have glued them down. I didn't, but I should have. But I think with the bow attached to it, it'll all stay. They're not very heavy at all, so I think they'll be fine. Oh, and then I have another little mold. Here it has bells. I'm just taking the middle one and I'm going to place that at the bottom of the bow. You just have to flex and to get them out. It's corn. If you put cornstarch in the mold, it really comes out quite easy. It's fun doing these. I mean, you can customize these to whatever you like. And I'm just placing it in, cleaning up the mold, or the casting, sorry. Making sure everything's adhering and pressing gently down. Get that clay attached. So can you see there's a little bit of warping on the bauble there? That's the heat gun. If you get too close for too long, it does that. I mean, this is I'm just going to keep this for my own personal use, but it didn't distort the bauble too much, so I'm just going to cover that little warped area with some more castings. I think I'm just choosing which ones I want to use and how I want to go ahead with it. Yeah, you got to keep that heat gun moving and not too close. I didn't realize I got that close, and it was later on when I noticed that the bauble was all warped. So now I just realized that that is the Holly Lane mold. I believe earlier I said it was the oak leaves and acorns. Well, it's not. I'm sorry. It is the Holly Lane mold. So here I'm just casting a few pieces of the holly to put on the back of that warped area. Pressing in, getting a really nice clean edge, flexing the mold, and then they just lift right out. Smoothing some of those edges down. Didn't even have to flip the mold over, they just pop right out if you use some cornstarch. I kind of like that. That looks nice, that placement. I have to remember to flip my camera down a little bit when I'm doing these videos. So I'm just showing you here that you can fix any mistake that you make. So I'm continuing just pressing the castings gently down, and I have these tools that I got when I used to do polymer. Well, I still do polymer clay. They're like little silicone pencils, and they have different ends on them, and they're really good for smoothing and rounding your clay out. So now I'm mixing up fusion casement with a little bit of salt wash, and what this does is it gives it a really nice texture. So I'm going to add that to the back of the bauble, so it's kind of like a snowy texture on the back. I really like that look. And then when you put your patinas on them, the patinas fall into the recesses of the salt wash and gives a really nice definition. They're easy, so you just mix it up. I add a little bit of water because that paint is getting thick. It's at the end of the bottle, so or at the end of the jug, so I just add a little bit of water just to get it to be a little bit more workable. See, you can see that texture. It looks really pretty, just like soft, fluffy snow. So now I'm going to be applying the two-part system, the fine line crackle, component 1 and component 2. First off, you apply a smooth, even coat with your component 1 and let it dry. You don't want to overwork the component 1, you just put it down Get it in all smooth, even. I hear a lot of people have trouble with this one. I haven't had too much trouble with it yet. It's quite easy. Smooth coat, don't overwork it, let it dry. I was using a heat gun. I like to use a heat gun when I'm drying this, but not on these baubles. And I lost some footage of the using component 2. Add component 2 the same way you did with component 1 and let that dry. The next 2 steps are the in the right hand corner. I lost some footage, but I'm showing you the products there. Is the antiquing paste. You apply that with your finger just into the cracks of the fine line crackle, and that makes the cracks stand out. And then you need to apply a solvent based finish over top, and that locks it all in. Now I'm using the metallic pigment with Pigment Fix, mixing those 2 together, and it's like a paint. And I'm going to do some painting on my projects here. Some detail work with the bows. You just use a little bit of the Pigment Fix, not that much. I poured some of it back, and then add a little bit of the pigment powder. Sorry, I'm out of footage again, or out of frame. I think I put like 3 or 4 scoops of, it's just a tiny little spoon that I have that I use, and then I mix it all up. It's just beautiful. This is called Fire Gold. Again, I have all these products on my website too, if you're interested. Go take a look. But I have never found a paint that is as metallic, true metallic as this is. And you just use a fine brush, making sure you mix this up really well. You don't want any lumps. You want it all smooth. Just working in that Pigment Fix, working in all the powder. Yeah, it's a really tiny little spoon that I use. Okay, and then I begin painting all the detail. My favorite out of this metallic powder is the antique gold. It is gorgeous. But I'm using, or I want a bit more of a cool feel to these ornaments. So I'm just using grays and the red and trying to pick up some of the red in that girl's outfit. I actually was doing 3 baubles in this video, but I'm only featuring the church mostly in this. Otherwise this video would have been like an hour and a half long. So I cut out lots of it and just featuring the one bauble. The one that I had a mistake on, so I could show you how to fix that. So I'm getting into all the grooves. This is really fun to paint this with this stuff. It works really well, and you can see the metal. That's how it dries too. Just beautiful metallic. I love using this stuff. I need some better quality or finer paint brushes to get into that tiny detail, but this works. Yeah, I was saying with that solvent-based sealer to put over your fine line crackle after you've done your paste. The solvent-based it's solvent-based, it's not water-based, so if I need to clean up with the baby wipe or anything, it won't ruin my fine line finish. If I wasn't to seal it with a solvent-based sealer, it would be all kind of, it would get all gummy and sticky, and it would be just a mess. But the solvent-based eliminates all that. So I'm just going around doing all the detail work on that bow. So now I'm mixing up a different pigment powder. This is called Sparkling Silver. This is another nice one. I'm going to be going in and doing the bells with this. Like I said, I want a kind of a cool finish on these. Silver and grays. I typically use gold, but I just wanted to do a little. Plus the toppers on these baubles were silver, so I was just going to kind of keep with that theme. This is really pretty too. It's got like a glittery, sparkly look to that pigment. So I'm just going in with the finer brush, doing this detail work. I'm not going to be going and painting all the poinsettia leaves. I'm just going to be highlighting that with the patina. I mean, you can do anything with these. That's the fun of it. Just, you know, make it your own. This is just giving you ideas on how to use products, but you could use different kinds of molds and different paint finishes, different metallics. There's so many products out there that you could use to make these your own style. So now I'm going in with a DIY patina. It is a gray finish. All my DIY paint products are on sale on my website. If you want to take a look, go check it out. So I do a kind of heavy coat all around. I get right in deep into those crevices. That's where I want the dark gray to lay and to stay, is into the crevices. So I'm really working that in. Sorry if you hear my kitty in the back. He wants my attention. Oh, so now I'm going in with a baby wipe, and I'm wiping back, highlighting. And when you wipe back, you see the highlights of the castings. It brings the details out. So the dark goes into the crevices, and the wiping back of the product highlights the casting. You don't want to wipe it all off, but you want to wipe back as much or as little, I guess. It's up to you. But that's what it does. It just kind of falls into the crevices and highlights all the detail. Easy product to work with. I think the next thing I'll be doing is I wanted the crevices to be a little bit more highlighted, like darker. So I go in with a fusion, just a regular fusion mineral paint. It's the soapstone, and I mix a little bit up with water, and I go in and apply that into the crevices, and it just darkens them up a little bit. Oh, I need to turn my camera up. I'm so sorry. I'm just wiping back right now. Making sure I got the gray product off of the bow and the bells, so they're highlighted. They stand out. Oh, so then I'm just going back, or I'm going over just slightly, like kind of dry brushing, you could say, over the poinsettia, just to bring out some more detail and give it a little bit more shimmer. Like I said, this has a kind of a sparkly finish, so it kind of shimmers on the leaves. It's very pretty. So here I am going in with that soapstone, the mineral, Fusion Mineral Paint Soapstone. Of course I'm out of frame. I hope I get a hang of this. See how it's darker. I like that. Adds a little bit more vintage vibe to it. Maybe a little bit more moody in some aspects. Against the silver and the white, yeah, it really brings the details out. So again, if you're interested in any of the products that I've demonstrated or shown in the video, you can go onto my website. I believe I have most of the products. I don't have the exact decoupage paper, but I do have some that would work if you want to just go and check it out. And I will put some clips of the finished baubles at the end. I just want to thank you all for watching. This is my second video. I hope to get better at doing this. It's fun. It is fun, but it takes some finessing with this video editing and such. So I hope you stick with me, and I hope to see you again. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching.